Are you someone that travels frequently for work or for whatever reason, but you travel frequently and you find that makes it really challenging for you to move or exercise regularly? Or are you someone that maybe travels infrequently, but often after travel, you take weeks to get back to your regular routine and you feel sluggish and just not yourself for a while? Keep listening for more. Hi, everyone. I'm Dr. Sara, family physician, wife, mom of four, and exercise enthusiast. Thank you and welcome back to my YouTube channel. So today I wanted to talk all about some travel tips that I have in terms of incorporating exercise and movement in those trips. So I used to be somebody that when it was vacation time, it was like, I am using this to do nothing. Of course, wherever we were going, whatever we're doing may be active, but I always had a plan to not be intentional about movement. And I found when I returned from vacation, or if it was travel for work, or whenever I was leaving home, I would return and spend literally weeks, sometimes 2 up to even 3 weeks, just not feeling myself, feeling very sluggish, just feeling sort of off, foggy brain, these types of symptoms. And I think that it was probably a combination of the lack of movement and then also a change in what I was fueling my body with food-wise. But today I really wanted to focus on the movement piece because if you've been here on my YouTube channel or any of my other social media for any amount of time, you probably know that I am incredibly passionate about movement and exercise and how it affects my physical and mental health in such a positive way. And so I find that even if I miss a day or two, I notice a difference. So if I go on a week-long vacation and I don't move how I typically do, when I come back, it's a big adjustment. And so now, over the years, I've sort of figured out some tips and tricks, things that I do that have been really helpful, but don't take away from the vacation aspect, or if it's a work trip or like an educational type of trip, it doesn't take away from that aspect. It just sort of enhances it, but then also allows me to continue to live my life in the way that I want to. So the first tip I have is to really visualize how I feel when I stay active. And so this may sound a little bit like, oh boy, like, are you really going to do this? No, I never did before, but I recently started doing this and it really helps me connect to why I want to do this. And so taking the time, just a couple of minutes to do that, helps me maintain forward motion to be able to stay motivated with being active. And so I just think about, how do I want to feel at the end of this little trip? Do I want to feel energized and motivated and keep going with my goals? Or do I want to feel that way that I felt before, where I feel sort of sluggish and foggy, and then I spend a few weeks like readjusting and getting back to normal life? So I know I always want to do the first version. And so I take a few minutes at the beginning of my day when we're on a trip to do that and to plan that out. Tip number 2 is to always bring some kind of comfortable or like athletic clothes, exercise clothes, or just comfortable clothes that you would be okay moving a little more intentionally with. Now, this depends, of course, on the type of vacation you might be going on, what you're traveling for, how much luggage space you have. But I've even had trips where I literally just use my pajamas because I know I'm going to bring those anyway. And if it's a short trip, I might be doing something like stretching or yoga. And so my pajamas can multitask and serve two purposes. Most of the time, I do try to bring at least one exercise outfit so that I have that in case something pops up where I want to have that type of attire available. Sometimes people will say, well, I just don't have space in the luggage for sneakers. So a couple tips, like tips within a tip there. So the first is you can always wear your sneakers. If it's not a business trip or you have space to pack the other shoes you might need in your luggage, maybe they're lighter or smaller, you can always wear your sneakers to the airport and then those are the shoes that you have on your feet. If that doesn't work and you're like, this is just, there is no space for them, that's okay. There are plenty of workouts that you can do that don't require shoes on your feet. You can do stretching, you can do core exercises, you can do yoga. I mean, you can even do some body weight strength training, and you don't necessarily need to have shoes on for those type of activities. So just something to think about in terms of barriers to movement, in terms of what you physically would need to bring with you. The third tip, and I think one of the most important, is just to keep it simple. So I'm going to give a few examples of things that I did on a recent trip that I went on that was really short and just by myself, but then also things that I've done when I go on vacations, either with a group or with my kids and my husband, so there's different varieties of things that you can do to incorporate movement. So one is, if you're at an airport that has trams or trains or these type of things to get you to different terminals, instead of doing that, if possible, you can always walk. Right? So if it's the type of airport where walking is possible and you have a few extra minutes, you're not like hustling to get to the gate, choose to walk instead of taking that train. Another example is there's a lot of elevator, escalator type situations. Take the stairs. And it doesn't have to be that you take the stairs the entire way, but maybe if you have to go to the 5th floor of your hotel, you walk up one flight and then you do the elevator the rest of the way. Or you have, you can split it up with, if you're traveling with other people, like one person does the elevator with the suitcases and somebody else takes the stairs, and then you flip. So, it's sometimes the barrier is, well, we have all this stuff with us. It's okay. You can think about it. You can keep it simple. You can figure out ways to get some extra steps in. One that I think is the most critical is, if you have extra time and you're sitting at your gate, instead of sitting, get up and go for a walk. You're going to be sitting on the plane, especially if you're flying, right? So get up and walk around the airport. Go check out the stores, people watch, whatever it is. But being mobile before you have to go sit and really stay still on the plane can be helpful to get that movement in. When you're actually on your vacation, again, there's ways you can choose activities that are more mobile. Or if you're on a beach vacation, you get up and take a walk on the beach. You can fit these things in as part of the activities instead of just choosing things that are more, you're just sitting and not really moving much. Another thing, especially if you're going to be driving, movement wise, but also just important for your health, you don't want to be sitting in the same position in a car for hours and hours and hours. So that's something where if you're doing a long drive, you want to take a break, get up, stretch your legs, when you're at the gas station, do a few laps around the gas station. This kind of stuff can help get the movement in, keep the blood flowing, and really, help your overall health there. The fourth tip that is helpful, whether you're with family on a family vacation or a group vacation, or even if you go by yourself, is to try to wake up 5 to 10 minutes earlier than you actually need to. And, sometimes it can be challenging when you're away from home, you're out of your routine, where you may have to be ready earlier than usual. You may not have the same amount of time that you typically do in the morning, but even 5 minutes of doing something active, moving, will help your body feel better than if you don't do anything at all. So, you can set that alarm a few minutes early, get in a quick stretch in the morning, get in a quick little yoga session, whatever is calling to you that specific day. A few minutes can really make a difference. So I would, try that. Again, it doesn't have to be loads and loads of time. Just a few minutes can make a huge difference. The last thing is to really just recognize any movement that you're doing. And this is something that was huge for me because I kind of didn't really think about all the different types of movement that I was doing when I'm on vacation. So as an example, say you're on a cruise, which is something that I've done relatively recently, and instead of taking the elevator, you take the stairs. You don't always think about that, but that absolutely counts as movement, and you can count that. So that's something just to be aware of all the different ways that you're moving your body, and try to, do your best to recognize that and celebrate those wins. So just to kind of review those tips to stay active quickly, it's visualize how much better you feel when you stay active. It's make sure you have the things that you need, but you can minimize those things as much as you can, like wearing the sneakers on your feet, choosing activities where you may not need as many items. Keep it simple, walking around the airport, just keep it simple. And then getting up 5 or 10 minutes earlier than you need to squeeze it in the morning so it's checked off the box. And then just recognizing and celebrating all the movement that you are doing, whether or not it's as intentional as some of the examples that I gave. So I hope this video maybe helps even just one person that might be traveling soon think about ways to stay active and help them on their, wellness journey. If you are someone that resonates with this video or with the other content that I'm creating, if you're somebody that's really trying to figure out how to exercise more regularly and you're looking for positive motivation, you're looking for accountability, you're working on things like your mindset, definitely head over to my website and sign up for my free newsletter. It's at drsaraionescu.com. And you can always subscribe here for more of this content. I make weekly videos like this, and then I'm also here every single day in the shorts section. So imagine if you were able to stay more active when you were traveling, on vacation, for an educational conference, for work, whatever it is. And imagine if at the end of those trips, instead of feeling sluggish and tired and foggy-brained and just needing extra days to readjust to home, you actually felt like your normal self and you got home and you just smoothly transitioned right back into your normal routine. How awesome would that be? And how much time would it save you in the day-to-day? That's what can happen if you're intentional and you're thoughtful about movement while you're out of town. Follow for more. Bye, everyone.